Mark, thanks for sitting down with us this morning. It's a pleasure to speak to you again. It's a little while since we spoke to you properly on camera, isn't it? And a lot has changed. How are things?
It's been a whirlwind, I must admit. It seems a long time now since we spoke on that day that I joined. But it's all good. Lots happened, lots to do, lots going on. But I think we're getting ourselves into pretty good shape.
Do you enjoy that aspect of it when it's really busy? You know, you're so invested in the job, and it's just what you do, isn't it?
I don't have a choice. No, the transfer windows are always busy. I think you join a new club, that's an additional challenge, an additional learning curve, an additional responsibility. But a transfer window like we're having this time round brings added pressures and added challenges. But yeah, we just step through it. It's not just me. Let's be really clear. There's a team of people who are really working hard behind the scenes to take the football club forward. And as I said, I think we're getting ourselves into decent shape.
Yeah. There is a lot going on at the club this summer. It's a huge summer for the football club, isn't it? And you know that includes signings, staff changes, stadium development. Let's have a little look at the latter, because we've seen a few improvements around the stadium recently. Why is that a key area for you?
I think it was clear from day one when I walked in that the stadium needed some love and needed to be brought back to life. It is tired, it is run down, and it's not right now at the standard that we would want it to be. But that's going to take some time. One thing you can say is the fans were back in on Saturday and the stadium was clean, it was tidy. People will see that there is more than a lick of paint being added to certain areas of the stadium, and we're trying to tidy it up and bring it back to life. But bigger projects are going to take some time. And we'll put a strategy in place for both here and the training ground on how we develop and how we take that forward. But for sure, there's a lot of infrastructure work to do.
Is it a particularly important area given the history of the stadium? The fans absolutely adore Portman Road, and do you still see the potential of it? Is that why you're so driven to making those improvements?
It's our home.
Yeah.
It's the fans' home. It's the players' home. It's the staff's home. And if you can't take care of your own home, then how can you be expected to take care of the bigger projects? If we can't do the little things right, we're never going to get the bigger things right. And I've said that time and time again to players, staff, and stakeholders around the football club. Portman Road is a very historic stadium, and it's very, very important to us. And we need to make it our home. We need to make it a fortress on match days, let's be really clear, because home wins are going to be key. And there's going to be a lot of teams that come here and want to make it difficult for us, understandably so. We need to make it a fortress. But we need to make sure the facilities are right and that we are really proud of our home. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we are committed to doing that.
One of those areas on the outside of the Cobbold stand, the new windows, they seem to have gone down really well. Are you happy with that one?
I think they look great. Again, I can't take responsibility or credit for it. I shouldn't. Steve Pearce, who's been with the football club a long time, and you guys and other staff members have contributed to that. It was their idea. And I think we've just facilitated the implementation of that. So, fair play to Steve and his team. Great idea. They've seen it through, and I think the windows look great. And I think over time now, over the coming weeks, fans will start to see other areas of the stadium start to come to light. Simple things. We played Crystal Palace on Saturday. There were new seats in the dugout. The dugout had a lick of paint. The changing rooms have got new carpet in. The car park lines have been repainted. The entrance to the stadium is being repainted today. The gates are being painted. It's going to take time. It is like painting, if you like, a big bridge, and by the time you've got to the end of painting it, you've got to start again. But that's what we've got to do. So the stadium needs some love. It's our home, as I said, and we will put time and energy into that to bring it back to life.
In some of those areas, you've mentioned the carpet in the change room, that kind of thing. Fans won't necessarily see that, but that's an improvement for the players, the staff. Does that give off the aspect of we're all in this together?
Listen, there's a lot of things that will go on at the football club that the fans won't see behind the scenes. There's a lot of people working tirelessly behind the scenes, both, if you like, on the pitch and off the pitch, to help us move the club forward and put it in a position that we want it to be in. And at times fans can't see that, and I understand that, but I would ask them to trust me, whether it's the changing rooms in the carpets, whether it's the cups that are being cleaned in the kitchen, whether it's players being signed for the first team, whether it's within the academy, whether it's within the stadium facilities. There is a team of people really putting a shift in to try and bring the club into a position where we can move forward. And that can only be a good thing.
Were you surprised at how much needed doing, Mark?
It is what it is. It's really easy to look back and say that maybe this should have happened or that could have happened, but there's nothing I can change other than the future. We use the words control what you can control. So all we can do is take advantage of the time and the space that's in front of us, and we can create the future together. And I have said this before, this is not about Mark Ashton. I have the privilege of leading the ship. I have the privilege of managing people who run this business. Whether you're a fan, whether you're a staff member, whether you are a supporter, whether you're a commercial partner or a key stakeholder of the club in some other capacity, we can only take this football club together. And that's one of the main parts I see as my job, is bringing everyone together. Because the size of this football club, the tradition and history of this football club, the size of the fan base that it has, if we can pull all of those key people together, wow, we have a real opportunity to do something very, very special.
Yeah. Are there any particular areas that the fans should look at for short-term stadium improvements? Are there any particular plans in place?
Well, listen, it's standards. I'm just driving standards everywhere. I met with the stewards last week, whether it's Paul Cook and his staff, whether it's the ground staff, whether it's people who meet and greet on a match day, whether it's my key staff. Everyone is being told to drive standards, and it starts with the simple things. If you see litter, pick it up. Take pride, take care in our home, and in those little things, we have an opportunity to bring people together. And I will go back to that time and time again. There isn't one single thing that we can do here that makes Ipswich Town successful, both on or off the pitch. It's a million things. But if we drive standards in those million things, we will find the marginal gains. We will take the club forward. The club will go to where we want it to get to. It will progress on and off the pitch. We will win games. As the players have to be disciplined on the pitch, we have to be disciplined off the pitch. We're in it together. But the opportunity here, I just think, is huge. And together, I think we can create something really special.
All of these things develop the fan interaction. I know that's something you're very passionate about. And why do you believe that's such a key area?
Because at the end of the day, look, we've acquired the football club. We've acquired the asset that is the football club. But we're only custodians of the football club. The football club will be here long after we are gone. Yeah. That's the one thing that you can guarantee. The real owners of football clubs are its community, are its fan base, are its supporters. And we have a responsibility to bring everyone together. We have a responsibility to try and communicate as effectively as we can. And listen, we're in a transfer window. I can't tell everybody everything all the time because we'll lose our advantage. But I'm going back to the same word again, togetherness. Together, we have a real opportunity to take this football club forward. And that so excites me.
One of those fan events that is in the calendar is the Fans Forum on Thursday. It's you attending along with Paul Cook and Mike O'Leary. Is that something you're looking forward to?
Absolutely. The more fan engagement face-to-face we can do, the better. We've all been locked away for 18 months, 2 years now in the pandemic. So the more engagement that we can have, the more opportunity that we can have to interact with fans directly, the better. And I think that's really important because as an ownership group, with my colleagues in the US who've been absolutely fantastic in the whole process of bringing this project together, we've got to get to know the fans. The fans have got to get to know us. So the more we can communicate effectively to them, the more they can see the whites of our eyes, the better. We will be repetitive, by the way, because our messaging won't change.
Yeah.
We have a plan, and we will try our best to stick to it.
You mentioned just at the start of your answer there, the 18 months that the country's had, everyone's been impacted by COVID. From a club point of view, and also since you started, how has that impacted things, and maybe with a particular focus on the transfer window, has that made things on that aspect difficult?
I think it's a really good question. If I answer that in two parts, the first part is the real part, and that's, everybody in the world has been affected by the pandemic, and you were here at the game on Saturday. We had 5,000 fans in.
Yeah.
It sounded like 20,000 fans were in the stadium. To see the smiles on people's faces, to have the ability to interact with people who've been locked away in such challenging times for 18 months was just amazing. And it's the one thing that football does. Football is this universal language. It doesn't really matter what side of the street you come from. The one language we all talk is football.
Yeah.
And I think football has this unique opportunity to engage and bring people together. And you started to see that on Saturday with just 5,000 people returning to Portman Road. So I'm delighted that we at Ipswich Town Football Club and everyone at Portman Road can play a part in bringing people, if you like, back to a sense of normality. And I think that's the most important piece. And we'll try to do that as safely and as sensibly as we can within government guidelines. From a business perspective, yeah, look, it's been difficult. Clubs have had no revenues for 18 months.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge for football clubs. Has that affected the transfer market? Yes, it has. We've sold players. We've bought players. We've bought in some free transfers. And we will continue to trade, if you like, through the rest of the window. But I think we've done good business. Yeah. But absolutely, the market is affected. The world is affected. And football is not immune for that. But we are starting to come out of it. And for me, the main thing is that we conduct ourselves in the correct and appropriate manner and bring fans back in as safely and as quickly as we can.
On the business done so far, are you as delighted? We've spoken to the manager plenty about the players that have come in. He's thrilled with what we've done. And hopefully by the time this interview comes out, it'll be 10 through the door. That's an impressive figure, isn't it?
It's a window like no other, that's for sure. Yeah, look, I talk to Paul 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day, whatever needs to be. I was with him early at the training ground yesterday. He said to me last night, he said, "Did I pass you at 6 o'clock this morning in the car?" And I said, "Yep, that was me." He was training ground, sorry, I was stadium, and it's long days, which is fine. That's just what we do. We've done good business, I think. We've brought in good players and really good characters. And character is key to what we're trying to build, because be under no illusion, we've got to bring in good football players that fit what Paul needs on the pitch. But we have to bring in good characters who fit what we want to build off the pitch. As you've just said, by the end of this interview, we may have another one or maybe another 2 in later today. And one thing I've done with both of those, as I've said before, I've done with all of the players, is sat them down and talked to them about culture, what it means to play for Ipswich Town, what you represent when you play for Ipswich Town. I've started to talk a little bit about our vision, our mission and our values. And I've used the terminology running towards adversity. That is something that's going to be key. It's something that I believe represents the funding of this football club. It represents what we're about and what we're trying to do. And I've explained that to all of the players that have come in. And on Friday this week, I will sit down with the players and talk through that values and behaviours piece as a collective, because it's really important. Engagement in our community is not just going to be words. It will happen and it will grow. Our behaviours on the pitch and the discipline that we show on the pitch will be expected. Performances will lead to results. But we have to have a set of values that underpin that. And one of those will be that everyone within this football club will run towards adversity.
It all links together, doesn't it, Mark? When you've got these players coming in and you talk about their roles in the community, they're an ambassador for the club and doing these player visits, our engagement with the supporters, our relationship with the junior supporters as well. It's all sounds like it's so vital. And you've mentioned that togetherness. It's like a jigsaw putting it together, isn't it?
It is, but when I talk about engagement with community, that isn't just a word. That isn't just a staff member or a player turning up at a soccer course to have a nice photo taken that looks good in the press and the media. There's much more than that. This is about real engagement with community groups, whether it's health, education, schools coaching, whether it's soccer courses, whatever it is. Whatever element of the community is, we need to expand our community work, and we need to truly engage with that. And players and staff need to embrace that, because I go back to what I said at the start of this interview. We are custodians of the football club. The real owners are our community, and our stakeholders in our community are key. And again, once I can breathe a little bit and we through the transfer window, we will start to focus on the business side, how we take the business and the commercial side forward, how we take our fan engagement forward, how we take our communication forward and the platforms that we use. But at the heart of that will be community engagement. And that excites me just as much as us winning games on a pitch.
Yeah. Just jumping back slightly to the transfer business done, and that, of course, I've seen a number of departures as well. What's that like at a football club when you see so much change in one summer?
I think when I first thought about coming to Ipswich and we had those initial discussions, my thought process, this was going to be a nice evolution. It's not. It is a revolution. Let's be really clear. I think Paul and one or two others have said that to me, and I think it's not my terminology, but I think it's probably right. A lot of players in, a lot of players out. And the players that we've moved on, we're grateful for the service they've given to the football club, and we're very respectful of that, and we wish them well as they move forward. But now is our time.
Yeah.
Now is the group of players and group of staff that we are bringing into the football club. It's their time. They have the opportunity to put their stamp on the history of this football club and take the football club forward. So again, we respect those that have left. We're excited about those that have come in. Just looking forward to the season getting going now.
That's the key day, isn't it? The 7th of August. Everyone's so looking forward to that. And from a business point of view, of course, I'm sure you'd want business done early. How does the transfer window change once the season begins?
Yeah, I think I would always look to try and get business done early, and I think that's clearly been shown with what we've done thus far. But we've still got some more to do. Normally, you see the window closes 3 weeks after the first game of the season. This time around, and that tends to change season to season. And it'll be interesting because normally what happens is you see a club will lose or not have the best start to the season, and they might panic and they'll jump into the market. I think you'll see the market move late this year. I think you're looking at, it could be a very big transfer window for the Premier League because there are 2 or 3 very big players who've been on international duty, and there's a lot of talk about them moving for huge amounts of money. And normally what happens if that does conclude, there's a domino effect because the clubs that they have bought from will have money. They will spend in the Championship. Championship will spend in League One, and you see that domino effect occur. So I expect there to be probably a flurry of movement late. I don't like doing lastminute.com. I don't. I like to be set fairly early so we know where we're going, and I think we are on that trajectory. We're getting ourselves set. We've got 2 more transfers imminent, hopefully. They're not done till they're done, and then we'll move on again. So that would be circa 10 in. But the other thing I would say to the fans is this: listen, we all want to get out the blocks quickly. We all want to win every game. Trust me, I'm exactly the same. But 10 players in are going to take a little bit of time to gel. They're going to take time to get to know each other. It's a 40-plus game season, a lot more with the cups. It's going to take the depth of the squad to see us through a successful season. And seasons are built. Seasons are not won in August. Championships are not won in August. So we have to be realistic about this. We want to compete right at the top end of this division and be ultra successful. But we've got to build it. And come August the 7th, we start.
Those new arrivals, we've seen a bit of them already. We saw them out at Portman Road on Saturday. You spoke about that as a day, what an occasion it was to have the fans back. Personally, how did you enjoy it?
That's a really good question. Someone asked me that on Saturday. I think anxiety was a key factor, even though it was a friendly, because we're trying to follow the COVID protocols. We're making sure everyone's in safely. People haven't been back in stadiums for 18 months. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Listen, Paul takes care of the team with Andy Rolls on a match day. They're ultra professional people. I sleep at night knowing they're well organised. In fairness, the stadium's the same. But yeah, it was a big one for me, because the first time I've sat in the home director's box at Portman Road as a member of the team here. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had some fantastic comments from fans that I met at the gate and in the fan zone and around the stadium before and after the game. And you know, for me, I'd just like to thank everyone who's welcomed me to the county. It really has been an amazing first month or so. It feels a lot longer. But I just want to say thank you for the kind welcome.
Yeah. You have a wealth of experience in the game, Mark, but are you liking that you're learning a bit about the club as well? No doubt you knew so much about Ipswich Town, but once you're in, you see so much more, don't you? I mean, I saw you yesterday speaking to Pat Gobbold, and just people like that, they really know the club so well, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I've been in this game a long time, but you learn every single day.
Yeah.
You still learn about the business and you learn about the club. And in regards to learning about the club, I'm an infant. But the good thing is I've got some really good people around me, some great stakeholders who have been involved with the club for many years, who are not shy at coming forward and telling me about the history and tradition of the club and what it means to the county. I've purposely met former staff members, former players, former key stakeholders of the club in the first month and sat down with them, and they've shared their knowledge and wisdom with me, and that's great. And again, I'm really appreciative of that, because you know, I spent 16 years at West Bromwich Albion, was born and bred in that community and understand that community. I'm very new to the Ipswich community, and again, I'm just grateful for the time that people are affording me to share their knowledge with me.
Now that you speak about the 16 years there at West Brom and the other clubs you've been involved with as well, Bristol City and Watford, jumping back to the beginning, what's your path as a CEO been like? What's the one bit of advice now that you would look back on a young Mark Ashton and say, this is what you need to do?
Oh my word, what a good question that is. It's interesting. You start as a young player and you think that's the path that you're going to be on. And my playing career finished very early, and to me at that point that felt like it was the end of the world. But actually it was the best thing that could have happened to me, because it then set me off on a career path, learning the business side of football. And I've been so privileged to meet some amazing people on that journey. Before you say it, yeah, I'm 50 years of age this year, and I know I look far older, but it's a journey that I've thoroughly enjoyed and has allowed me to learn skill sets, spend time with people, and be part of organisations that to me will always be really special. Look, you guys have been in this game long enough to know you have huge highs and you have huge lows. It's the nature of the business. But I am a football man. I've been in it for as long as I can remember. And I think I still have the energy and passion that I had as a young 15, 16-year-old footballer, now as a 50-year-old CEO. It's different, but I still have that passion and drive every morning, and that's what I want to bring to Ipswich Town. You're
in a new chapter now, and the club is in a new chapter. If we just to kind of summarise the interview, what's your final message to the supporters as we head into a week on Saturday, that first home game?
Firstly, again, thank you. Thank you for the amazing welcome that myself and my staff and my team have been given as we've come into this community. And the message is togetherness. Let's not set limits on what we think we can do. I said that on day one. There is no reason that we can't achieve ultimate success in this football club. It is going to take time. But the only way we can do it is together. It's not all about me. It's not all about Paul Cook. It's not about the individual players that we sign or staff members that we have. It's the togetherness, the unity that we can pull together that can take this football club forward. And if we can do that, I genuinely believe that we can get to a tipping point and get to that tipping point quickly where this football club can build up a momentum that will be really hard to stop. Look at it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking to you now, and I'm genuinely, the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. I get that almost every time I look out across Portman Road. It's a football club with amazing tradition and amazing history. We want to respect and take care of that heritage. But right now, we've got to focus on the players that we brought in, the staff that we brought in. We've got to bring the fans back together, because together we can get this done. And I guess togetherness is my key final message for you.